Hello, everybody. Welcome to New Moon Celebrations. This is Rose Martin, and this is where we take a look each month on what's going on in God's biblical calendar. I'm a born-again believer, spirit-filled, and heavily into the Hebrew roots of our faith and the one new man aim that we have to all come together as one. Now, the Lord gives us great insight each month into what's going on. And it's also a good time to develop ourselves, not develop ourselves as a self-centered type of person, but one who has the qualities of God. Each month, a quality of God is highlighted, and this is what we are to kind of take a look at in our lives, how we measuring up, and then just to learn more about it and ask for more if we need more in that area. So this month, we are in the third month of the biblical calendar, the third month of the yearly calendar that starts out in the spring with Nisan, and that is Aries on the zodiacal calendar. And then we went through Iyar, which is Taurus, and now comes Sivan, which is Gemini. Gemini is the twins. The first month, we looked at I am. Who am I? Who am I in the Lord? Who am I in this life? What qualities, what gifts, what talents, what makes me unique? And then the second month in Taurus and Iyar, it's I have. What is important to me? What are my values? What are my belongings? What do I do to make money and income to support the I, the me, the person? Now we're moving into Gemini, Sivan. So we are here in this month of Sivan, which is thinking, communication, it's neighbors, it's siblings, it's getting along, it's the twins. The twins are a characteristic of duality, being able to see different viewpoints, to be able to gently move into a new type of thought, to have an open enough mind to be thinking. But it's also a month that we learn to communicate. Our early education in life and all that is encapsulated in this month. So this is what we're going to look at this month. What is going on in this area of our lives, and do we need to improve it? Now, if we're talking about education, if we're talking about learning, if we're talking about communication, this is the time of the year where we take a look at that. And if we're thinking of learning early education, we can think of the children, where the word says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. That's in Proverbs 22. So, what has been happening with this training of the children? Now we look at the events that happen, some disasters, some horrific things that happen because young children or adolescents or young adults have gone out of hand. They don't have the substance to hang on there in their lives. It shows in Jewish literature and in psychology and all that the first 12 years of life is the child has no say-so really himself, and he is being trained by the parents. The first 12 years, and then they become an adult and start to think on their own. And this is reflected in the various religions, the bar mitzvah, the bat mitzvah, and then the confirmation with the Catholics. So there's a transition. The first 12 years are the input. Train up a child, then he will not go far. So the question is, what are we training our children right now in this time that they're growing up in the first 12 years? Now, the one thing that we see that they're heavily being trained on is their sexual orientation. Now, is that the main thing of life for a little child to learn about his sexual orientation? We have reading, writing, arithmetic. We have the morals of what we just learned also. Who am I? What are my values? There's much more than the sexual identity that people are being taught right now. We got my home, values, our thinking, our traditions, our creativity, our work habits, our partnerships, our spiritual and end-of-life thoughts, spirituality, business-minded, status, hopes and dreams, and then the secret wishes and desires that we have. We have more than our sexual attitude, and orientation. And this is what we need to be teaching the kids, because when they are old, they will not depart from it. What are they going to think about when they're old? Just all about sex, their orientation, being confused. So right now we see we've got a big problem in this world about early education. We've got a problem with learning. We've got a problem with thinking. People don't know where they come from. People don't know where they're going, and they don't know what the heck they're doing here while on earth. And so this is what the Bible teaches us about. Where are we from? Jeremiah tells us that the Lord knew us before we were born. He created us and brought us to this earth for a purpose. He's got a special purpose for our life. And at the end, we will go again with him to eternity, to heaven, to where we believe will be the next step. And then while we are here on this earth, we've been given a challenge. We've been given our primary star pattern. We've been given our book in the Bible with everything that's going to go on in this world, our challenges and our blessings and our talents. And so our purpose is to go through life developing ourselves and overcoming the challenges. We've all got challenges to overcome. And as we're doing this, as we're purifying, as we're becoming better people, then we store up for ourselves treasures in heaven, right? This is where moth and rust do not destroy. This is where we want the gold and the silver and the fine gems, and not the stubble and the cardboard and the hay. So these are the types of things that are available to be teaching the young children nowadays. And now, at this time of the new moon in Gemini, which is May 30th, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time, United States, and then Sivan starts on May 31st. These months are very integral in our growing, where at least we stop and think about, what are my thoughts? Am I thinking fearful thoughts? Am I thinking uplifting thoughts? What kind of thoughts do we have? Are they working on positivity, or are they bringing destruction? The Lord tells us, first of all, train up a child in the way he should go. I've got my verses here. And when he's old, he will not depart from it. And then another verse in a very interesting format that the Passion Translation says from Matthew 18:3, learn this well. Unless you dramatically change your way of thinking and become teachable like little children, you will never be able to enter in. We'll never be able to enter in. And that's not just speaking about the end of time when we are moving into our eternal home. It is entering in right now into the kingdom, right now into the kingdom blessings that he has for you. This is where we transform our mind, our thinking. Now, Sivan and Gemini and this time right now is basic everyday thinking. It's your learning, it's your ABCs, your math, all that kind of stuff, how to function in the world. But then we offset that with the sign directly opposite from that, which is Sagittarius, which is higher thinking, godly thinking, thinking about other places, other ways, other things, so that we can incorporate that into our thinking and round it out. So we've got that going on for us this month, that we can adapt the higher thinking and apply it to our life. How do we handle this? How do we handle this world? Romans 12:2 says, and be not conformed to this world, but be you transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is good, acceptable, and the perfect will of God. With everything that's going on in our lives, we need to renew our minds. We're being taught things. We're being shown things. We're learning about things. Every day is a renewing. How does this line up with what I believe? What does this line up with the Bible? How does this line up with reality? And we think, and then we come up to a new answer, and then renew our minds to a new thought, so we can be stronger and better as we go on in this world. Now, this Gemini is also concerning our thoughts, as I said, but it also is dealing with neighbors and with siblings. These are key areas, and a lot of it involves communication and getting along with one another. And the key is to get along harmoniously, to work together like close-knit twins, and take each of your sides and meld them together as one. And in the Bible, we have several illustrations of twins, good twins and bad twins. So the first one I'd like to bring up is the one that was Tamar and Yehuda, where they had the twins. And the twins were called Peretz and Zerach. Now Peretz was the one that came out first. He put his hand out, they put a crimson cord around him, crimson ribbon. And his hand went back in, and next comes Zerach, who was then the firstborn. And so out comes the second one, Perez, with the thing on his hand. He was supposed to be. But as the sages say, that this is an example of twins who care and love for each other. That Peretz put his hand out to open up the passageway so that his brother could go through easily. And they worked together. They didn't care who was first. They didn't care who was second. They didn't care that one's arm was out and he should have been counted. And why did the second one not get it? But throughout their lives, they worked as a team, a loving team, brothers. Then we have another story of Jacob and Esau, who were not so good with each other. And one had anger towards the other, Esau towards Jacob, because his birthright was stolen from him. And of course, it's all according to God's plan, what he wants to have done, but they were not happy about it. So they had a struggle their whole lives. And so they didn't have a good relationship, but they have something that they could work on and pass on to us. Then the third example is Moses and Aaron. Now, even though they weren't biological twins, they were so close and they worked together. And they took care of the children of Israel and brought them into the promised land. So these are three examples of the twins. And it shows us that the variation, you can have a problem with the twin or work together. And this is the same with us now. We can work together. The thing is unity in our community, with our siblings, with our neighbors, to work towards unity. And isn't this a time to be thinking about it now? In the name of Yeshua, we need to think about it. So we have now been also working since April, since Nisan. We have been counting the Omer after Passover. So this is a plan by God now for us to continue to develop. Fresh start every new year. We've got a new cycle that we're going through, and we can learn new things. And boy, aren't we learning new things, especially this counting of the Omer time. There's always something that you are elevated if you follow along this and ask God at the beginning of counting the Omer, Lord, please change this in me. Change this in me. And a good thing for everyone to be changed in, because it goes right through that second month of Iyar, Taurus, is values. What is your value? How do you value yourself? What is important to you? Are the biblical things, the spiritual things, or are the material things important? So here we are now coming to the end of this counting the Omer time, the 49 days, and the 50th days is Shavuot, or Pentecost. And this is coming up now this month. This is a preparation of this month to prepare for this. We have been cleansed and purified, just as the Israelites were. They were cleansed and purified, and they fasted and purified 3 days before that day that on Mount Sinai, when God gave Moses the commandments. So in our own lives now, as we're getting ready for Pentecost, which happened, 2,000 years later with Jesus, where the Holy Spirit came. First we got the law, then we got the Holy Spirit. So that could be kind of twins. They work together in unity. My husband showed me that aspect, how the Old Testament, the New Testament, the Torah and the New Testament, Brit Hadashah, work together. And they are the twins that will bring us to a one new man understanding. So here we have now Shavuot coming, Pentecost, where the power of God, the insights, what we need to get through the rest of the year. So hopefully you've been preparing for that and are ready for this to happen now. Shavuot and Pentecost. This is going to be on June 5th, I believe, this year is the actual Pentecost. So this month is a good month to stop and think of how you think, how you communicate. Do you know your children? Do you communicate with your children? Our children have precious time to be prepared for life. And the things that they are learning now are not giving them the foundation that they need to move forward. And this is a time now, as we're reevaluating everything in this world, to think about the children. There are many aspects of the children that I'm not going to get into now that need to be addressed. But right now we're just talking about the education, the training, the teaching, to be able to communicate with each other, to train them in values that will take them through their lives and give them a firm foundation to fulfill the purpose that they're here for. So we need to take stock of what's happening, because the way to communicate is not with weapons. We need to grab a hold of it way before. And yes, we need to go way back, way back, way back. But because it started a long time ago, and many believe it's when the Bible was taken out of the schools. That big foundation was gone. They didn't have God in there. They didn't have a higher source, a higher power, a creator to go to and to know he's always there. So if we could teach our children, teach ourselves, remind ourselves that God is there, and think about what we think about, because thinking becomes a reality. And many times we're always thinking about the negative things, and it's so hard to think about the positive. But the word tells us that in Philippians 4:8, that finally, brethren, whatever is true, whatever things are honest, whatever things are just, whatever things are pure, whatever things are lovely, whatever things of a good report, if there be any virtue, if there be any praise, think on these things. To train our minds to think in godly ways, because there's a lot of craziness going on out there. 2 Corinthians 10:4-5 says, the weapon of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds. We've got mental strongholds that need to be pulled down. Casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of God, and bring into captivity every thought and bring it into the obedience of Christ. An active thing, active thinking. Stop yourself. What are you thinking about? Become aware. Write down the things that you think about so that you can see the trend that you are on your thoughts, so that you can reevaluate, become aware. The first thing is to become aware that you're thinking of crazy things. So write them down, think about them, and pray to God to renew your mind this month, because we got a long way ahead of us to get through everything. And we have to have solid minds in order to continue and put good things into place. We're still working on removing the old, and it is an intense thing. But we ourselves, we're the light. One light can join with other lights. Join other lights in our family, our children, our neighborhoods, our community, our education. Let us unite. Let us, me, be the light. Let me start being a light so I could be a light, and the light will catch on to other people. You cannot put enough darkness to cover the light. You can never cover it. But you have a little tiny spark of light, and it's very visible. You cannot drown out the light. So remember, that light is with you. God is with you. We're remembering this month. Another thing is Zayin, which is the letter associated with this month. And it looks like a sword, they say, in the Hebrew. So, and it's literally Zayin. I might be saying that wrong. Excuse me if I'm not pronouncing it right. But this is a word, Zayin, that is also means weapon. And we're learning about that word. And the word is coming. The Torah is coming. It's here with us all the time, but we're celebrating it and getting the power, the yearly power from it. And that is our weapon. The word is a double-edged sword. The sword is here this month. The sword. Find scriptures, find verses, do daily studies on the word to get it in, renew your mind, get your power up, get your strength up, because the word is true. God is true. And he wants you to know that this month. He is strong and mighty in the name of Yeshua. As far as our everyday goings on in the heavens, we are in a very volatile time. We are moving away now from the delusional, don't know what to do, into the aggressive, let's do something now. And it's going to be a little wild. It's going to be wild. I keep saying little things, but big things are happening. I don't want to scare you. I don't want to cause fright because God is in control. And that's why you got to renew your mind so you can start thinking a different way. No matter what you see, you believe God and his ways. And so this is what we're going through this month. The word is with us, and we are strong and mighty through the Lord. So I thank you for watching now. I ask you to like and share and let people know about this. We've got a yearly program with the Lord, beginning in April with the Nisan and all the way through Adar, Pisces at the end. He's got something for us every month, and people need to know about it. People need to build their spiritual war chest, their spiritual strength. And this is what happens every month when we acknowledge God in this area of our lives and learn from him through biblical and spiritual. He's for you. He has a plan for you. He's got a plan for the children, and he's going to be victorious. And those of us who are following along with him, we're going to be victorious because God promises success to his people. Victory in the name of Yeshua. So I pray for victory in your mind, your body, soul, and spirit, in every area, that it comes into alignment, and that your neighbors, your siblings, you could work together with them in twins, that we come together and become that one new man that God wants us to be. Neither Jew nor Gentile or any other religion. We're going to come together as one new man. And this is the process. Let's learn who we are each step of the way every month. Come back next month, and next month we're going to learn about our home and family, Tammuz and Cancer. So every month is something to look forward to. And blessings. Ask for blessings to new thoughts this month. New relationships with your siblings if they are not healthy relationships. Have this as a time where it will be renewed. And communities coming together and thinking along the same lines, coming to some way to solve these problems. This is a community and relationship month. So God bless you. I pray that you have been blessed, and we'll see you next month. God bless you, and shalom.